Around 9:30 on the evening of November 22nd, Wynn asked a friend to drive him to the area of North Avenue and Longwood Street in Baltimore City. Telling his companion to wait, Michael Wynn got out of the car and walked towards the 2900 block of North. Within minutes, 3 or 4 gunshots rang out. The driver of the car turned to look and saw Wynn stumble and fall to the street. The friend jumped from his car and ran to give Wynn assistance, but it was too late. Michael Wynn was taken to University Hospital, where he was pronounced dead. Baltimore City Police have no witnesses to the actual shooting and no motive for the murder. They're asking anyone who may have been in the North Avenue area on the night of November 22nd and who may have seen or heard something suspicious to come forward. If you have information on the murder of Michael Wynn, you're urged to call the Metro Crime Stoppers confidential hotline at 276-8888. Names are not taken and calls are not recorded.
The off-duty correctional officer was shot to death just minutes after leaving his grandmother's house on the 700 block North Carrollton Avenue. 26-year-old Warren Scott, a security officer at the Maryland Penitentiary for more than 2 years, was shot in the back. Scott had joined other members of his family at the house to mourn the death of his father. The father died of natural causes earlier Sunday morning. Scott left the house briefly to go to a nearby store and to visit his stepsisters a block away on Harlem Avenue. Suddenly, 3 shots rang out.
I was just telling him, don't leave me, and I guess the good Lord had called him.
Seconds after the shooting, Scott staggered back to his grandmother's house.
I thought he was just joking at first, when he came in.
What did he say to you?
He said, somebody out there shot me. That's what he said. Then after that, he staggered around and he fell.
According to members of the family, police may not have to go very far to get any additional clues. They say there has been an ongoing dispute within the family and that the correctional officer may have been the innocent victim, that the real target was someone else in the family.
That bullet wasn't meant for him.
Who was it meant for?
My brother that just went over there.
Roy?
Yeah.
The young girl believes the bullet was intended for Roy Kennard Jr., her brother and the victim's half-brother. On top of all this tragedy, the slain correctional officer and his wife were expecting their 3rd child next month. Frank Luber, Channel 13, Eyewitness News.
There are now about 80 parishioners who worship here on Sundays. They have faith that their church will serve their children and grandchildren as well. But Roman Catholic Bishop John Ricard has said repeatedly that the decision to close Old St. James and St. John's Parish is irreversible. But there's a group of very determined parishioners inside that has not accepted that decision.
Nothing is over. Nothing is unfinished as long as you have the faith to carry on, as long as you believe in God. Irreversible doesn't even bother me, because it's not a word in my vocabulary.
This is the kind of determination that characterizes this small but active group that gathers after Mass to plan strategies. But frustration is mounting.
We went up to New York in January to meet with the Redemptorists, and they said basically it was the Archdiocese decision to close the church down. And then we met with Bishop Ricard, and he said it's basically the Redemptorists, and we'd never be able to get the 2 groups together to kind of coordinate it.
The reality is that this grand old church was once the German National Church. In its prime, there were 10,000 parishioners on the roll. Now only the messages on the poor box written in German are remnants of those days. Days when deterioration like this would have been unheard of. But World War II ushered in the decline of this parish, and the 60s dealt the final blow. But the faithful believe they can bring it back.
We're in the process of contacting old alumni of James and John's, and they have agreed to come in and donate money and even time and labor.
And they hope that their hard work and their faith will win out in the end. Sandra Pinckney, Channel 13, Eyewitness News.
Four people came in off the street, possibly, in pairs of 2s. The 2 pairs got into an argument on the street, which evolved into the store and resulted in one person being shot and killed. Hey, Ryan.